Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into something, well, absolutely vital, but often pushed aside sleep.
Yeah, we're drawing heavily from Matthew Walker's book, Why We Sleep. It's quite the eye-opener.
Our mission really is to unpack why it's so crucial for, health, well-being, everything.
And think about it.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt just wiped out?
Hmm.
Or maybe needed that extra coffee kick?
You're definitely not alone there. And this deep dive, well, it's going to shed some light on why prioritizing sleep actually matters so much.
It really does. The consequences are bigger than most people think.
Okay, here's a startling fact to kick us off. Did you know that a full 2/3 of adults in developed nations don't get the recommended 8 hours?
2/3. That's massive.
Yeah.
And the fallout from that is, well, it's significant.
All right, let's jump right into that statistic then. This widespread sleep loss, what are the big health implications Walker talks about?
Okay, well, the book doesn't pull any punches. He says routinely getting less than, say, 6 or 7 hours a night, it more than doubles your risk of cancer.
Doubles. Wow, that's sobering.
It really is.
Yeah.
And then there's the brain health aspect, long term. Insufficient sleep is now seen as a really key factor in developing Alzheimer's disease.
So it's not just about feeling tired now, it's about protecting your brain for the future.
Exactly. It underlines how vital sleep is for keeping our cognitive function sharp as we get older.
And even short term, the effects are pretty stark, right? Like on blood sugar.
Oh, absolutely. Just 1 week of slightly reduced sleep. Not even total deprivation, just moderate reduction can push your blood sugar levels towards a pre-diabetic state.
Just 1 week. That's incredibly fast.
It shows how sensitive our metabolism is to sleep. And your heart feels it too.
Right, the cardiovascular risks.
Yeah, the research clearly links consistently short sleep with basically an increased chance of blocked arteries, making them brittle, which then ups your risk for heart disease, stroke, even heart failure.
It's like a cascade of negative effects. And it hits mental health too, doesn't it?
Definitely. The book makes a strong case for the connection between poor sleep and things like depression, anxiety. Even, tragically, increased suicidality.
It's a two-way street, isn't it? Bad sleep makes mental health worse, and poor mental health disrupts sleep.
Precisely. And when you add all these health hits together, the conclusion is pretty blunt. Shorter sleep correlates with a shorter lifespan.
So that whole "I'll sleep when I'm dead" mentality is completely backward.
Totally counterproductive. You're likely hastening that outcome.
And this isn't just an individual issue, it's societal. The WHO calls it a sleep loss epidemic.
Yeah, and industrialized nations. And it's interesting, the countries seeing the biggest drops in sleep time, the US, UK, Japan, parts of Europe, they're also seeing rises in these physical and mental health problems.
Is there a direct link shown?
The correlation is strong. Walker certainly argues for a causal link. And beyond diseases, think about immediate safety, drowsy driving.
Oh, yeah, that's terrifying.
The numbers are shocking. Hundreds of thousands of accidents, fatalities, more than alcohol and drugs combined, according to some data.
More than alcohol and drugs. That's hard to believe, but scary.
In the U.S. alone, someone dies roughly every hour because of a fatigue-related error behind the wheel. It really forces you to rethink how casually we treat sleep deprivation.
It really does. And it's kind of mind-boggling that for so long, science didn't really grasp why we sleep. We understood hunger, thirst, reproduction.
Yeah, those drives are obvious. But sleep, from an evolutionary perspective, it looks like a terrible idea.
Right. You're vulnerable, can't find food, can't mate, can't watch for predators. Why evolve this risky behavior?
It's one of evolution's biggest puzzles. But the science now is showing just how essential it is. Walker calls it the single most effective thing for resetting brain and body health.
Mother Nature's contra-death strategy, as he puts it.
Exactly. And the crucial point for you, the listener, is that the real dangers of not getting enough sleep, they haven't been communicated well at all.
The public health message just isn't getting through.
Not effectively, which is what makes this kind of research so important.
Speaking of research, Walker's own PhD work had some interesting findings, didn't it? About dementia.
Yes, fascinating stuff. He was looking at brain waves in older adults, knowing dementia isn't just one thing.
And he suspected sleep might hold clues.
His hypothesis was that unique electrical signatures during sleep could predict different types of dementia, maybe earlier than daytime tests could.
And did it work?
Remarkably, yes. While daytime brain waves were often ambiguous, distinct patterns emerged during sleep. It suggests sleep analysis could become a powerful diagnostic tool down the line.
Amazing. Okay, so how does our body actually know when to sleep? What regulates it?
The book highlights two main processes. First, there's the circadian rhythm, or process C.
Our internal body clock, right?
Basically, yeah, your 24-hour timer that promotes wakefulness during the day and sleepiness at night, like an internal conductor.
Okay, process C. What's the second factor?
That's sleep pressure, process S. It's driven by a chemical called adenosine.
Adenosine.
Yeah, it builds up in your brain the longer you're awake.
Yeah.
The more adenosine, the sleepier you feel. Think of it like a debt accumulating.
Ah, okay. So how do the clock and the debt work together?
Well, when your clock, process C, is signaling be awake, and your adenosine level, process S, is low, like after a good night's sleep, you feel alert.
Makes sense.
As the day wears on, adenosine climbs, increasing that pressure to sleep. And caffeine. It works by blocking adenosine receptors.
Which is why you crash later.
Exactly. The caffeine wears off, and all that built-up adenosine hits you. Importantly, sleep is what clears adenosine out.
So you need sleep to pay off that adenosine debt.
Precisely.
Okay, so fundamentally, what defines sleep? Beyond just lying still.
Well, the obvious signs are stillness and lack of response.
Yeah.
But a key internal aspect is losing your conscious sense of time. That gap is part of what makes you feel like you've actually slept.
Interesting. And within sleep, there are different types.
Yes, two main ones we cycle through: NREM, non-rapid eye movement sleep, and REM, rapid eye movement sleep.
REM. That's the one linked with dreaming.
Strongly linked, yes. Discovered back in the 50s, those flickering eyes under the lids.
Let's start with NREM, specifically deep NREM. What happens there?
Deep NREM is marked by these really slow, powerful brain waves. Scientists used to think the brain was just idle then.
But it's not.
Not at all. It's actually a state of intense, synchronized neural firing. Huge populations of neurons working together. It's crucial for physical restoration and memory consolidation.
Okay. Synchronized activity and REM sleep. What's its deal, besides the eye movements and dreams?
Well, it's interesting evolutionarily. Not all creatures have REM. Insects, amphibians, most reptiles, they don't seem to.
So it came later.
It seems so. Full REM sleep appears mainly in birds and mammals, suggesting it evolved for functions NREM couldn't handle as well, maybe more complex cognitive or emotional stuff. NREM is the older form of sleep.
The animal kingdom has some wild sleep variations, doesn't it?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Like dolphins and whales doing unihemispheric sleep, sleeping with half a brain at a time.
So they can keep swimming and breathing. Incredible.
Yeah. And animals, including humans, might sleep less under extreme stress, like starvation. The drive to find food overrides rest, temporarily.
And that afternoon slump, is that biological?
Seems to be. That post-lunch dip points towards an innate drive for biphasic sleep, sleeping in two phases. Hunter-gatherer societies often show this, and even Western Europe historically had first and second sleep. We've kind of forced ourselves into monophasic sleep.
Interesting. Let's get back to REM. What are its key benefits? You mentioned emotional stuff.
Yes, emotional recalibration is a big one. REM seems to fine-tune our emotional circuits. Walker speculates this might have given Homo sapiens an edge, enhancing our emotional intelligence and social understanding. Like nightly therapy?
Nightly therapy, I like that. What else, especially early in life?
It's huge for brain development.
Yeah.
In the womb and early infancy, REM sleep acts like an electrical fertilizer, stimulating neural connections when the brain is being built.
So it helps wire the brain.
Exactly. And across mammals, REM is highest when brain construction peaks. Disrupting it early on can impact development, and lower REM is seen in conditions like autism. Even alcohol during pregnancy reduces newborn REM.
Wow. And what about later during adolescence? Sleep still matters then, right?
Absolutely critical. Deep NREM sleep facilitates synaptic pruning in the frontal lobe during teen years.
Pruning, like tidying up connections.
Yeah, getting rid of the less efficient ones to strengthen the important pathways. This is vital for developing mature judgment and impulse control, though deep sleep intensity does naturally decline with age.
Okay, let's talk memory. Sleep before learning versus sleep after learning. What's the difference?
Good sleep before learning basically prepares your brain, specifically the hippocampus, to soak up new information, like hitting record on a fresh tape. Even naps help.
And sleep spindles, those bursts of activity.
Yeah, during NREM sleep, more spindles correlate with better learning capacity the next day. Some studies even suggest stimulating the brain during deep sleep can boost memory.
Okay, so sleep prepares you to learn. What about sleep after you learn something?
That's crucial for consolidation, cementing those memories, making them stick, preventing forgetting.
How does it do that?
It seems the brain replays and strengthens memories during sleep, especially NREM. There's even evidence for targeted reactivation selectively boosting specific memories. The brain is intelligently deciding what to keep.
That's amazing. And motor skills, learning to play guitar or swing a golf club?
Sleep is key there too. It helps transfer those skills from conscious effort to more automatic, unconscious brain circuits. Makes them smooth, instinctive. You see a spike in stage 2 NREM when babies learn to walk.
So practice, then sleep on it, literally.
Pretty much. And finally, creativity. Does sleep help with that aha moment? The evidence points strongly to yes, especially REM sleep. It seems to allow the brain to connect unrelated ideas in novel ways.
Like the stories about Mendeleev and the periodic table, or Keith Richards and satisfaction.
Exactly those kinds of examples. Research shows sleep, particularly REM, significantly boosts creative problem-solving insight. Dreams often weave together recent experiences with old knowledge in surprising ways.
Okay, the benefits are huge, but what about the dark side? The dangers of not sleeping enough?
One immediate danger is microsleeps. Those involuntary moments where you just zone out, blank out.
Even for a second.
Even for a second or two.
Yeah.
Behind the wheel, that's catastrophic. You're essentially blind and lose motor control briefly.
That explains a lot about drowsy driving accidents.
Definitely. And it's not just sudden incidents. Chronic partial sleep deprivation leads to a steady decline in performance. Attention, reaction time, it just gets worse and worse. There's no plateau.
You don't just get used to less sleep.
And no, your performance keeps degrading, even if you feel like you're coping. Emotionally, too, sleep loss messes you up.
How so? More irritable.
Way more than irritable. You get exaggerated emotional responses, both positive and negative, become more extreme. The amygdala, your emotional center, goes into overdrive, while the prefrontal cortex, which regulates it, gets sluggish.
So less control, more reaction?
Exactly. Linked to higher stress, anxiety, and sadly, increased risk of suicidal ideation, especially in teens. Though, paradoxically, one night of total sleep deprivation can sometimes briefly lift mood and depression. Weird, but true.
And memory. Immediate impact.
Huge impact.
Yeah.
Just one night of poor sleep significantly impairs your ability to form new memories the next day. And disrupting deep sleep, specifically, hinders memory consolidation, a factor implicated in Alzheimer's.
Okay, shifting to the purely physical body, cardiovascular system.
Big hit. Shorter sleep ramps up your risk for heart disease, high blood pressure, stroke. Even losing just an hour or two regularly activates your fight or flight system, stressing your heart.
And metabolism. We touched on blood sugar.
Yeah, it disrupts blood sugar control by making cells insulin resistant. Increases risk for prediabetes, type 2 diabetes. Plus, it messes with hunger hormones. Reduces leptin, the I'm full signal, and boosts ghrelin, the I'm hungry signal. So you feel hungrier, crave unhealthy high-calorie foods, and gain weight. Good sleep helps restore impulse control around food.
It affects hormones generally, right? Like testosterone.
Yes, studies show limiting sleep significantly drops testosterone levels, even in young, healthy men.
And the immune system gets sick more easily.
Definitely. Sleep deprivation hammers your immune function, makes vaccines like the flu shot less effective, makes you more susceptible to catching colds, infections. Catching up on sleep later doesn't fully fix the initial hit.
Yikes. And cancer.
Alarmingly, research suggests chronic sleep loss can actually promote cancer growth and spread, at least in animal models. It weakens the immune surveillance that normally fights rogue cells.
It even affects our genes, our DNA.
Yeah, chronic lack of sleep alters the activity of hundreds of genes involved in critical stuff: metabolism, inflammation, immunity, cell stress. It's also linked to shorter telomeres.
Those caps on chromosomes, linked to aging.
Exactly. Shorter, damaged telomeres are bad news. Sleep loss seems to accelerate that process.
Okay, given all this, sleep disorders are obviously serious. Can we quickly touch on the main ones?
Sure. Somnambulism, that's sleepwalking, talking, eating. Happens during deep NREM, not REM dreaming. Mostly harmless, but can be treated if risky.
Insomnia.
Difficulty falling or staying asleep, often driven by anxiety or worry, but can have biological roots too. Leads to poor sleep quality and daytime problems. There's also paradoxical insomnia, where you think you slept badly but didn't.
Narcolepsy.
That's neurological. Excessive daytime sleepiness, sudden sleep attacks, muscle weakness triggered by emotion called cataplexy, sleep paralysis, caused by loss of orexin cells in the brain.
And that really rare one, fatal familial insomnia.
FFI. A devastating genetic prion disease. Leads to total inability to sleep and is ultimately fatal. It tragically proves, along with animal studies, that total sleep deprivation kills.
A grim reminder of how essential sleep is. Now, what about common myths, like needing only 6 or 7 hours?
That's a big one Walker debunks. The idea often comes from studies on populations with shorter lifespans. He argues need should mean optimal health and longevity, which points towards 7 fine hours for most adults. Sleeping only 6.75 hours consistently aligns with, well, a shorter life expectancy historically.
What about sleeping too much? Is more than 9 hours bad?
The studies showing higher mortality for long sleepers often reflect an underlying illness causing the long sleep, like infections, cancer, depression. There's no evidence that extra sleep itself is harmful in healthy people. The body usually regulates itself.
Okay, so why is getting good sleep so hard in modern life? What's messing us up?
Oh, lots of things. Artificial light is huge, especially blue light from screens at night. It suppresses melatonin, delaying sleep.
Our phones and tablets.
Big culprits. Then there's alcohol. It might make you feel sleepy initially, but it fragments sleep later on and absolutely crushes REM sleep. Bad for memory.
Even a little bit.
Even moderate amounts. The timing matters too. Then there's temperature. Our bedrooms are often too constantly warm. A slight drop in core body temperature helps initiate sleep. Warm hands and feet help radiate heat out.
Interesting. What else?
Alarm clocks. That jarring awakening disrupts the natural sleep cycle. And sleeping pills, they're sedatives, not natural sleep. They can actually impair memory consolidation and have serious side effects and risks.
So CBTI and sleep hygiene are better.
Much better, safer, and more effective long-term.
This sleep deficiency sounds like a massive public health crisis.
It really is. Walker quotes stats like a century ago, maybe 2% slept 6 hours or less. Now it's close to 30% in the U.S. Over two-thirds aren't getting the recommended 7-9 hours. The WHO is right to call it an epidemic.
And it hits everything. Business productivity, creativity.
Absolutely. Innovation, leadership quality, all suffer. Some forward-thinking companies are starting to get it, though. But then you have things like sleep deprivation used as torture.
That's horrifying.
It shows how devalued sleep is. And think about early school start times for teenagers.
Right. Their natural sleep cycle shifts later. Forcing them up early means chronic deprivation during crucial brain development.
Exactly. Impacts mental health, learning, and can even lead to misdiagnosing sleep issues as ADHD. And the medical field itself struggles overworked, sleep-deprived residents making more errors.
So what's the way forward? Walker's vision for sleep.
It requires a multi-level approach, understanding the problem, then intervening. Things like personalized light therapy via devices to manage circadian rhythms, maybe combat jet lag.
Wearable tech?
Yeah, using wearables to track sleep and give people feedback on how it impacts their health. Big changes in education are needed, teaching kids about sleep, like we teach diet and exercise.
And healthcare. Hospitals.
Prioritizing patient sleep. Minimizing disruptions. Better training for doctors on sleep disorders, especially in kids. And public policy tackling drowsy driving, maybe incentives for good sleep habits, rethinking school times and work hours.
It's a big overhaul. To wrap up, can you quickly recap those practical tips for better sleep from the book?
Sure. The 12 key ones boil down to 1. Stick to a regular sleep schedule, same bedtime, same wake time, even weekends. 2. Exercise, but not too close to bed. 3. Avoid caffeine and nicotine late in the day. 4. Avoid alcohol before bed. 5. Don't eat large meals or drink tons of liquid late at night. 6. Check if medications interfere with sleep. 7. Avoid daytime naps if you struggle with nighttime sleep. 8. Relax before bed bath, reading, etc. 9. Keep your bedroom dark, quiet, and cool. 10. Comfortable mattress and pillows matter. 11. Get natural sunlight exposure, especially in the morning. 12. If you're awake in bed for over 20 minutes, get up and do something relaxing until you feel sleepy, then go back.
That's a great list. So the big takeaway from this deep dive into why we sleep.
It's just undeniable. Sleep isn't optional. It's not a luxury. It's a fundamental biological need.
Right.
It impacts everything. Physical health, mental health, learning, memory, creativity, even how long you live.
Ignoring it has massive costs, personally and for society.
Huge costs.
So for you listening, here's a thought. What's one small change you could make, starting tonight, to give your sleep a bit more priority?
Yeah, just one thing. Think about the ripple effect that could have on your energy tomorrow, your mood, your health in the long run. It's not just about feeling less tired. It's really about unlocking your potential for a healthier, longer, more vibrant life.